ready to get started. If board members can make sure you have your microphones on. Okay, good evening. The hour being 7:35 PM on Monday, September 25th, 2023. I'd like to call to order the Village of Brookfield Committee of the Whole meeting. Bridget, can we have a roll call for the committee meeting, please?
Trustee Ketchmark.
Here.
Trustee Cote.
Here.
Trustee Hendricks.
Here.
Trustee Niramatsu.
Here.
Trustee Gahuli.
Here.
Trustee Kaluzny.
Here.
And President Garvey.
Here. Thank you, Bridget. We have one item under regular business, and I'm sort of nervous to talk about a holiday Christmas tree, but the holidays, we've already been planning and talking about this for a while, but it's, as usual, we have a very detailed memo from Director Gunderson about the issue of the placement of the village tree, but Luke, you want to provide just maybe a summary of what the issue is and what the options are for the board and the public?
Yes, so what we have is the history of where the tree location was is at the center that went over the fountain at Eight Corners. But with the new construction of the brand-new fountain, it was recommended from Fountain Tech that we do not place a Christmas tree with such weight over top, with all of the pumps, main column nozzle, swivel connector, water level sensor, all that good stuff. That would void our warranty if anything were to happen with the tree falling onto the fountain. So essentially what we're presenting here today is some options of where we can place the tree for this year's tree placement.
Okay, and I think everyone's aware that the tree did fall over in the past. We had a Christmas tree fall over a couple days before Christmas one year. Well, I don't want people to think that it's not a possibility. Obviously, when, you know, the circle is a great location for the tree. It's traditionally been there, but we knew when we were investing in this new fountain that it might not be possible, and Vince and the Public Works staff looked at it also. I mean, it was going to be a little bit more challenging to get a tree and a platform, but I had full faith that our people in Public Works could have built a stand, and you know, you think about the stands you have at home for your Christmas tree. This is a little bit bigger and a little bit harder to get at. And you know, in the past, we've had local tree services help us with cranes and lifts and everything, and they used to actually go up onto the circle itself to get the tree in the proper position. And we just, you know, we've made a tremendous investment in that fountain and the landscaping in that area. And as we've noted, it is a veterans memorial. So staff has recommended, and I'd ask for the board's support, that it's really not the place to put the tree. As Luke laid out the options, I mean, Progress Park is where it was put last year. And the village doesn't own that property, but have we gotten permission to put it there again?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I'm sorry, Luke, I didn't realize if you want to go through the options, did you have slides? Do you have what you have here so you show people, or I didn't want to cut
Yes.
off your presentation there?
So I put together PowerPoint. It goes through each of the options, and then it kind of gives a brief pros and cons of each of the option that I presented. So obviously the first option was where it was at last year, Progress Park. There's a picture from last year of where the tree was at, and then an aerial to kind of show a little bit more information of where that location is. So logistics for it, for the holiday celebration, it's already set. It's an easy location. We can kind of follow what the holiday celebration logistics were last year. We don't have to change much with that. There are also anchors that are in the ground there, so we don't have to drill new anchors in. All of that is set. And then also the stand is also set. It's the same one from last year. So anchoring the tree and getting the tree in that location, all of that, stuff is set. Great visibility, and then it's a great location for the tree lighting ceremony in regards to traffic flow when we have the good crowd that comes out to see it. We're blocking traffic off in the right spot. Those logistics are already set, so that makes it an easy location. Obviously, the con for this, This is not a permanent solution with the hopes that, you know, a business or something will come in and take that location. So it's not a permanent spot. Going on to the next one, option number 2, Kiwanis Park. The idea would be to use the 3 evergreens that are right next to the pavilion there, the band shell. And then here's another aerial location where it's at. So the pros and cons, logistics for the holiday celebration are fairly simple. It's a most sustainable option, being that the tree is already in the ground. We're not worried about anchors. We're not worried about the stands. You know, the trees are there. Now all we would have to do is decorate them. It's a great location for the tree lighting ceremony, being right next to the band shell. We have electricity there. We can do announcements and everything. And the 3 trees near the band shell, the pro of it that they'll get bigger each year. So the con, the trees are not as grand as you'd like them to be. They are a little bit on the smaller side. And then if you're looking at it from the street, there is obviously poor visibility. You're not driving around seeing them. You know, you kind of have to walk through the park to be able to see that location. Option number 3 would be in front of the Grossdale Station. I got a picture from Google Earth to kind of show you the front of where it would be at, and then an aerial. So the pro location for the holiday celebration is great. You got great visibility. You're right on Brookfield Avenue. It's a great location for a tree lighting ceremony. It shouldn't be too hard to block off the street. We would force everyone, block off Brookfield Avenue, force them to go into the village lot. And then on the opposite side, we would just push them down Prairie so that we can have that O location for the public to gather. The con is that we have not figured out any logistics with power and then how the anchoring would be to get that tree in that location for that Grossdale Station. Option 4, it's the Triangle site downtown. It's the one near the tracks. Here's an aerial. It's kind of right next to, I believe that's Sebastian's there. So pro location for the holiday celebration is great. It's kind of right near where we're doing all the activities in downtown there. Great visibility. It's right near Brookfield Avenue, right near Grand. It's near the train station. You can see it from the train. And it is a great location for the tree lighting ceremony. You got a good area for everyone to gather. One thing is not a permanent solution there. You know, with development stuff that, you know, could see in the future in that area. You know, obviously if there's something built there, we wouldn't be able to put a tree there. Anchoring the tree and power would still need to be figured out. And then I also, I believe, put in the memo about developers giving us access to that site. We did get approval to be able to put a tree there. So that's not a con anymore. That would be a pro that we can use that area for that, to put the tree there. And then final, Veterans Memorial. It's a great middle ground between both downtown and 8 Corners. Great visibility. You're right on Grand. Some of the cons, it's a small area and poor location for the tree lighting ceremony. There's a lot of side streets to be able to cut those off and have a mass amount of public gather in that area. It'd probably be a logistics thing with our police department to be able to help make that safe. And those are the 5 options that I'm presenting with. And then our recommendation for this year would be continuing with option 1 with Progress Park, with, you know, the idea that the anchors and the tree stand, all of that logistics are already set. So it would make an easy location for this year, for 2023.
Thank you, Luke, and everyone involved in the planning and giving us these options. I'll open it up to board discussion. We're just looking for a consensus here. Questions, comments, suggestions from the board?
I have some, I mean, I say that I agree. I think the easiest thing is to just do what we've done and replicate last year's experience. I think people know that's where it is, and so it's easy to communicate as well. All of the logistics and the infrastructure was already laid last year to do that, and it was a really nice, easy place for people to take a picture throughout town. I like the idea of Grosedale Station in the future. I think that'd be really cool and a better permanent location, but sounds like a lot more investment would need to be made to make that the more permanent solution this year. So maybe it's a budget item for 2024. But that was how I felt after. Thank you for laying out the great options. That was my reaction when I read through them.
So
I agree with Katie. Sorry,
no, by all means.
sorry, trustee Cooley.
I'm all in favor of doing Progress Park again this year. But I do really like the Grosedale spot, because then you would see it when you're traveling on the train and be like, wow, that looks really nice over there. Maybe they can attract people to come to Brookfield off, as they're going back and forth between the city and wherever, and they'll see that, and I think it's more attractive. So I think a future long-term solution, I would really like to do Grosedale. I mean, we would have to really deal with the president of the Historical Society over there. But I really think that would bring a nice beauty to the town. I do like Progress Park. One other item that I wanted to bring up, and some people have asked me this in the past, there is a huge conifer in Ellert Park next to Hall Field. Could the village decorate that during the, it doesn't have to big tree lighting ceremony, but after we do the tree lighting, we also have something on the south side. It's huge, it's right there in the middle of Ellert. Could we decorate that one as well? And that where the south side would also have something that they can look at.
I love that idea.
That's
Yeah.
a great point. I was also wondering why we don't give a little love to the south side.
Right.
Right, agreed. I do like the Grosedale placement. I mean, I think it would be easier to do Progress Park, so if we're looking for easy, I guess I get it. I don't know how expensive it would be to put anchors and to electricity at Grosedale. I mean, so it's kind of hard for me to judge, but I really like Grosedale as the location, because I like that it's right in between when we're going to have activities here again, correct? So there's activities here, there's activities in the business district, it ties it together. We want people to walk past, to come here too, so that they don't forget about, what's happening here in addition to the business district. So I just think it's a great connector. And like you said in your report, it's such a great photo opportunity. And I think it would highlight our village from the train, from the busier intersection here too. And I know that the circle's busy, but I feel like people are always just trying to get through there, and here you're either you might be stopped at the intersection for a train, or Irish Times is obviously a huge draw during the holidays too. I know we have a lot of other business here too, but they're pretty well known throughout the region. So it's just I think it could be a nice central location. I also think with our fountain, that is such a nice draw too, and I can see the colors out changing, for the holidays, that a tree there could maybe detract a little bit from that. But I'm not against having it in Progress Park. I just think it would be much better at Grosedale.
I'm good with Progress Park for this year. Maybe it's something we do look towards the future at the station. But,
Yeah.
Progress Park is a very visible area.
And
fine with
it
that.
is not a tease to the budget discussion, but there may be talk about the future of the Historical Society and what type of investment we can make and improve that. I think everyone agrees that's a very visible spot, but I don't know that the infrastructure and the power and everything's there right now, but maybe going forward, whether it's a location for another tree or it's the main tree going forward, I think, staff's recommendation is supported, by clear consensus from the board and the reasons behind it. It worked really well last year in terms of the location and the ability. It's always challenging stopping traffic in the circle, but we have the police department there, and it is visible. And I think with the new fountain there, even though it'll be shut down for the winter, it's a highly visible area. And then the other plus is Santa knows where to go. Santa's been going there forever, so he knows Santa and Mrs. Claus will be able to find the tree very easily, so.
Something else that just came up at the chamber meeting, I just remembered too, is that while the tree is wonderful, Christmas tree, celebrate a Christmas celebration. There are many people that don't celebrate Christmas, that celebrate other traditions that we may want to consider as we highlight, others around town as well. And then obviously, we have other wonderful locations that might allow us to do that, or to work with the chamber to do that.
I was just wondering if there would be any implications to the two business districts of moving it from Progress to somewhere else in terms of the tree lighting ceremony itself. A lot of the businesses are open during the day, the holiday celebration day, and so I'm just curious as to if there's been any feedback about it, or if you think there would be any feedback about it, about moving it, because it's been there for so long. I'm just curious.
So I'm working with two members from the chamber, Wendy from Daisy's Treats and
Annette?
and then Annette Pardon from Fill My Jar. Both them like the idea of having it closer to obviously their businesses. So they supported the idea of having it around that area, but it'd be, nice to see what other businesses and stuff in other areas would.
Yeah,
would do
obviously, a lot of the festivities that they design are around the circle, right?
Right.
With the petting zoo and everything else. Now, Annette and Wendy, this is their first time being the organizers of this, so they're just kind of trying to soak up, the history of it, what's popular, what needs to change, what do we need to add. So they're in like open mind mode right now, trying to think of,
Yeah.
how best to plan, how to, keep things going, that everybody, has their favorites, and then how to improve it. So I'm sure they'd be open to any feedback or suggestions.
Sure. Well, we can continue to, I like the thought of new ideas and different, the trolleys that day move people throughout the town, and I think there's a lot of things going on in the Grandin Prairie area, and obviously the candy shop and everything else is pretty popular at the time. I think some of the, the Triangle site actually worried me a little bit just because it's close proximity. It is most likely a very temporary solution if things go well. I worry about families and kids being so close to the railroad tracks itself. If you're actually on that triangle spot, you try and keep everyone to the north, but it's kind of an attractive nuisance to have that many people gathering near the train. And I guarantee you that Burlington would send a train or two going by right as we're throwing the switch. And, we've seen it at Little League games and everything else. It's like there'll be a Amtrak train or there'll be a freight train that'll stop there.
We
and
were
there'll be-
saying maybe one would have Santa in it, could go by as get the Polar Express to pass by right at the right
Get
time.
the Village of Brookfield train to go by and stuff like that,
Well,
so.
the triangle is
Two
still an active
Santas.
construction site. So you used to have a construction fence up, and it's not really the safest area.
They have to cross to get to Irish Times to see Santa.
Oh, no, I'm talking about,
That too.
I'm just talking about the triangle,
Oh, the triangle.
because it's an active construction site,
Oh.
so you're gonna.
That's true. Yeah, I don't like the triangle.
But, because, today is September 25th. Christmas is 3 months from today, and we have to get, the original consensus, and I don't know, is a change from that, is Progress Park this year, but look at the other options for this year in terms of what other decorations and events and things that we can work with the chamber to have throughout the village, including, if there's decorations possible over at the tree in Allard Park. I'm familiar with that tree, that type of thing. And then as we go forward, and then Progress Park may not be an issue going forward, and the trees in Kiwanis Park may continue to grow, and, we can evolve this thing. But for this year, is there a consensus to go with Progress Park? Okay.
Yes.
And thank you to First National Bank. They own the property, and they've agreed to. Thank you for letting that happen there, so, okay? There's no specific board action other than the consensus needed, so. All right, Luke, thank you for the presentation. Thank you for Public Works, everyone that helped out in the laying out the options. So that's the only item we have under regular business. I'll open it up. There's no one on the right side, so there's no public comment there. Anyone on the left side have any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment on the left side, I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session at 7:55 pursuant to Section 2C5 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss purchase or lease of real property for the village's use, and pursuant to Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act to consider the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees.
So moved.
Second.
The motion was made by trustee Cote, second by trustee Kaluzny to go into executive session. Roll call, please.
Trustee Ketchmark?
Aye.
Trustee Cote?
Aye.
Trustee Hendricks?
Aye.
Trustee Niramatsu?
Aye.
Trustee Gahuli?
Aye.
Trustee Kaluzny?
Aye.
Motion